Ladies and gentlemen, I am KageKaze, and I am back with my shadow. And I've been putting a little bit of thought into how I want to build this guy. And I think I'm going to try and do a high damage build for the claws, focusing on the dual wielding and claw damage. And I originally thought, going into the passives here, that I was going to do the Chaos Inoculation combined with the Ghost Reaver. And it seemed alright, but there were quite a few dual-wielding and claw passives that I liked, and that looked like they could really get the damage up. So what I'm thinking of trying is, instead of going for the energy shield and recharging that with my claws' natural life leeching, to just try and do as much damage with the claws that I can, and use that to get my life up and keep it up. So what I'll do is I'll post my ultimate goal, basically the end game that I'll be going for. Now keep in mind, there's a lot of skill points in that, so have no idea exactly how far along this ultimate goal I'll get. But I'll post that here in the video description. In the meantime, I wanted to go ahead and show off a little bit of the crafting system I had mentioned here before. This is a vendor recipe. I have here some silk gloves that I found on another character, and what I'd like to show you here is that we've got 3 different colored sockets: the blue, the green, and the red. They are also linked. This will only work if they are all of different colors and linked together. So I'm going to go ahead and go to a vendor here and sell, and you'll notice that this is the recipe for a chromatic orb, which will reforge the color of the sockets on an item. Basically completely randomizes the color that you get. So for example, if I were to randomize this dagger here, it would still have 3 sockets, but each one of these 3 sockets would randomly re-roll a different color. So I'll go ahead and hit accept. I've got my chromatic orb, and I'm going to go ahead and put it into my stash. Alright, I have another quest here. I have breaking some eggs, which takes me into the mud flats. I'll go ahead and activate that here so you can get the introduction text.
Rowers, overgrown chickens with a murderous streak. Easy enough to bring down one by one. Just don't get surrounded. They'll talon your guts out and snap you up like a big fat worm. If you get the chance, have a rifle through their nests. The rowers are a bit like magpies. Got an eye for what shines.
As these areas are rather extensively large, what I might end up doing as I go through this game is either speeding up parts of the game if I don't have any commentary regarding the area, or I may just kind of cut out certain areas to get to more important or to more interesting segments of my journey. So it'll be kind of a by the seat of my pants kind of thing, as obviously I am doing the commentary, well, quote-unquote live. I am doing this live commentary, and I will be editing everything later. So as far as how everything will turn up, ultimately, I can't really say. But that's kind of what I'm thinking of as I go along. Let's go ahead and clear some of this out here. Lots of zombies, lots of zombies. What I have found is, as I go along here, I have run into areas. I have so many enemies that I have just started running through areas, ultimately, just to get to the end goal. If you want to farm for experience, this is certainly good. But some of these areas are so densely populated, it can be challenging to get through unscathed. Alright, so this is the first of the Roa's nests. We can see we got the Rosa's glyph here. And that's just the first part of this quest. There's a few of these things that we have to find. So what we're going to do is kind of follow the river and see if we can't find more of them. Here we have number 2. Alright, there we go. Click the nest. Alright, another glyph. This one's called the Haliotis. I'm really not sure. It's the halitosis glyph. Don't eat it. It's horrible. Bad things will happen. And I have to admit, these Roas are very interesting creatures. I don't know what to make of them. Just really weird looking. Let me look at you. What are you? Kind of beaked. Got chicken legs. Right then. Oh, hello. A unique Roa. Alright, let's go ahead and get a bit of health back.
Feeling a bit short on mana.
Okay, low on mana, so let's go ahead and get some chaos damage on this guy. Oop. What I'll do is kind of alternate hitting him with chaos damage and my dual strike. So I kept the chaos damage on him, refreshing it every now and then just kind of hitting him with my dual strike as the chaos damage whittled him down. So the great thing here is that I've found a unique claw. Well, not unique, sorry, a rare claw. So what have we got here? That's energy shield. This is increased physical damage. I think I'm going to use that because I'm going to start focusing on that. Now the downside is it's only got a red socket on it, much like this one here. So I'm going to either have to reforge it or just find a better claw. As of right now, I don't have any skills that specifically enhance my claws, so I'm not really worried about it just yet. This isn't too bad though. 5 to 12 damage plus the 1 to 10 lightning damage, increased critical strike chance, and stun duration. Not that I have anything really stunning right now. That 5 to 12 is really nice. I just don't want to lose my greens just yet, honestly. Let's see what I can do here. It's a 3 to 11, 3 to 11. That's 5 to 12. What if I keep that, because that's got a link in it? Well, no, that's got a... This is tricky business. That's 3 to 11. So this one does more damage overall. So let's take this green gem, put it in here. We'll put the claw over here. There we go. That's at least a start. And what I'll do is I'll take this dagger and put it over here. So there we have a build with a dagger and a claw, and then over here, kind of the same thing, but you can see it's on the other hand instead. Alright. And like that, we found another Roa nest. Ammonite glyph. Okay. Well, we found 3 glyphs. That pretty much means we can move on to the next area. And we've got 2 areas to go on. One of them is a side area, and the other is down the main path. Alright, here we are, kind of on the northeastern side. This is where we need to use the glyphs. A strange glyph wall. We'll take all 3 of them, and we'll open the way to the lower submerged passage. Now this is where we need to go for the story. For now, what we're going to do is take this zone right here, which is to the Fetid pool, where we have a different job of clearing it of all undead and any other monsters. Now this is the Fetid pool, and this place will be a little familiar to anyone that's played Diablo 2. Not in its style, really, but into the purpose that this place fulfills. This place is very akin to the Den of Evil in Diablo 2. We come through here and we have to completely clear it out, including monster countdown. So you have to make sure you kill absolutely everything to complete the quest. Once you've done so, the reward you get is actually quite similar to Diablo 2's reward as well. If you remember, in the Den of Evil of Diablo 2, you obtained a skill point for completing the den. Here, you don't get a skill point, but you do get a respec point, so you can change your skill around. So, alright, this is more physical damage than the sash I am wearing already, so there we go. And I have found another claw. This one has green and red on it, so I can actually replace this dagger with this claw, and that makes me quite happy. It has the elemental damage increase with weapons and 9 to dex. Unfortunately, I do not meet the level requirement. It requires level 7, and I am currently only level 6, having just hit level 6. This area, much like the submerged passage, my apologies, is level 5, so we are in equal area here. I just need to get one more level before I can go ahead and dual wield my claws, at which point I will start to see a nice increase to my life regen. Speaking of which, we have a point to put in, and it looks like we're getting physical damage with one-handed melee weapons. I go through some of these areas. Now this one is obviously serves a very specific purpose in that you have to go through and kill everything. But there's so many areas that I've been through now, having played a bit of the game just for myself and kind of experimenting with another build, which isn't going very well, might I add. You can fail very hard in this game when it comes to builds unless you plan. And I really didn't plan. And I'm planning on this one, and I'm not even sure it's going to be very good. We'll see. Alright. But with a lot of the other areas I've been through there, so again, I've mentioned they were very densely populated, and it's true. There are a lot of monsters later on, especially in Act 2, when you're getting near the end. And some of them just had so many enemies shooting at me, so many projectiles to avoid, it was pretty crazy. And these areas in this game are so very large.
Feeling a bit short on mana.
I'm not sure what to think of it. I mean, there's definitely a lot to explore, but at the same time, there's not too much to find other than, of course, monsters that drop items and chests that drop items. But of course, I guess that is the big draw, right? That kind of gives you incentive when once you've cleared the game, you've gone through the story, then you want to go in and what are you doing? You're farming for items, you're farming for experience. So that has the benefit of helping you out at max level, but in between, I really have no major reasons to explore. I mean, certainly I can kill through enemies to get the experience, but if I want to complete quests to get skill gems, which will help me along my way, I may want to simply quickly move from quest to quest so I can get those rewards, rather than worrying about the experience early. Of course, I don't want to shaft myself on experience. I want to make sure that I am strong enough to handle any bosses I may encounter. So it's going to be probably a balancing act for me here. Alright, let's see here. What have we got? Woe Blade. Cold extra... Oh, hello! And Wound Burn. Hi, how are you doing there? Nice to meet you. I'm up for some country fried roa. Kentucky Fried Roa. Right. But you have no skin. That's the best part, is the fried skin. Just die then. Alright, we're going to put some chaos damage on you. Well, assuming I had mana. Let's fix this, shall we? There we go. Chaos damage. Enjoy. Have fun. Be dead. Ooh, what do we get here? Viper Strike leveled up. Very good. Stop eating my flesh. I need that to live. Well, so I'm told. Could be wrong. Alright, I've gone through a good chunk of this place. How many more are left? I haven't seen any messages to inform me. A chest out in the middle of the water. Finding armor is definitely tough for me in this because I have to keep in mind that white items are actually not bad, and I have to kind of look at each item and try and determine if it's something that I'm going to use. Now, I'm typically looking for evasion rating plus mana shield because my character focuses on intelligence and dexterity. Although the build I have planned, and as you'll see linked, is going to focus mostly on the dex, and I'm not really going to... Oh, hello. 3... Oh, and the count's going up. 5... Oh, jeez. Okay. Take some chaos damage. There you go. Enjoy. Taste the rainbow of colors. Mostly green. Mostly green. That's okay. There we go. Done.
Too much baggage.
Yes. So, since I'll be focusing mostly on dexterity, I may end up just going for evasion rating. We'll have to find out. See, this has evasion rating of 24, which is quite nice. This has a 19, but it also has some energy shield, 2 greens, which I don't necessarily need right now. So, anything that I can do to increase my items that I can carry here? Let's see. Well, I don't exactly need to hold on to that. How big is this? It's about... Ooh, it's 4. Well, I don't need that copper sword. Here we go. Look at that. Item management. I really do need to get the Tetris theme so I can play it when I do this. For amusement! Yes. Oh, look at this. I can actually get the chest piece. Fantastic. I feel good. Let's go home.
So you opened the tidal passage and lived to tell the tale. Forgive me if I don't seem over the moon about it. I was running down a wounded rower one night's eve when I glimpsed something in that watery cave behind the mists of the falls. Looked a bit like one of those sand spitters, but the size of a bloody ox. I reckon it'll be nesting down in the flooded depths, somewhere below that submerged tunnel. If you're going that way, then do us a favor. Take this and go spill the old shield crab's guts before it gets hungry and comes looking for us.
Ah, excellent. We will be fighting shield crabs now. Okay, unfortunately I cannot get my reward with my
necromancer.
inventory full.
We've got enough undead wandering around without someone raising more for us to deal with. Well, good to see you don't mind getting your hands filthy. Here, have this, to mark a dirty job well done. I've travelled inland on the Emperor's Road via the Prisoner's Gate. Had to skirt around Axiom Prison. That's the holdfast of Brutus the Warden. Bloody treacherous trip it was. Worth it? There's forest inland. Game, berries, fruit. More food than we can scrounge here. But most here wouldn't survive the journey. Would be a damn sight easier if we could pass through the prison. Tell you what, you carve us a path up the coast. Find us a way past or through Brutus, and you'll have more than a few lives owing to you.
Excellent, excellent. So we have to go carve through Brutus so that they have a better path. Now I can get my reward still, so that's
Still
good.
alive, are we?
So let's do this. Don't really need to identify these things. I don't need most of them. This I need to keep. Let's see, that's armor and evasion. What am I using? Evasion energy. But it has more. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. And that's armor energy as well. So let's take a look at that. So I'm not using the socket here. 1414, pretty nice. Lightning resistance. This one has cold resistance and physical damage reflection. So let's see, energy shield 5, armor and evasion. I think I would rather have the evasion. Not too worried about the armor. Is more evasion. Energy shield 4 is not a big deal. That will help me with my damage resist. Let's just go ahead and put that on. So you can see I now have like a bowl on my head. That's fine. It's a bowl.
Still alive,
Fashion
are
statement. Don't judge me. Okay, selling, 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 selling. Alright, now we can go ahead and get the reward. So what do we have here? Whirling Whirling blades. Dive through enemies, dealing weapon damage. Only works with daggers, claws, and one-handed swords. I already know I want that. That is probably what I'm going to grab. But let's take a look at what else we have. Ethereal Knives, which fires an arc of knives in front of the caster, dealing physical damage. Now, that's an interesting one. It fires quite a few projectiles. 9 projectiles, in fact, in kind of a small cone in front of you. I'm not entirely sure if you can hit this one monster more than once, but it can certainly hit a fairly decent group. We have Bear Trap that damages and immobilizes enemies. Cold Snap, which is a ice AoE that occurs where the cursor is. Those are kind of nice. Viper Strike, which we of course already have, so they give you a chance to get it again. Ice Spear, which is a interesting skill. It launches a shard of ice, it pierces the nearest enemy, and when it does, it transforms into a second projectile, which has a 600% increased critical strike chance. That's actually pretty cool. I've used it a few times, and it's can do quite a bit of damage. You kind of have to make sure you're in the right position to use it, though, or it pretty much you're wasting it. Alright, what do we have here? Poison Arrow. I don't have arrows, and Detonate Dead. I could use that eventually. That's kind of the cool thing, is you don't have to be a necromancer or a caster to use this. It's a green gem, which means it's completely dex, even though it is a spell. So obviously spell damage increases would help it, but since I'm not going for that, let's get the Whirling Blades. This is going to be a really nice ability, and I can use it for movement as well as damage. So dive through enemies, dealing weapon damage, and only works. So it doesn't really tell you much about it. It's dive through, weapon damage. It doesn't say if it's both hands, only one hand. It's possibly both, but I'm really going to be using it in a mobility fashion. So thankfully I do have one free green slot. Go ahead and use that. And what I'm going to do is put that on my middle mouse button. So yeah, it does use both hands, you can tell here, because it shows the main hand offhand. Mana cost is 11, has 4.8 DPS, so it says 46.5 DPS, so you can tell this is really not going to be a primary damage dealer. That's perfectly fine. Now with Q, I'm going to go ahead and put on my Viper Strike, and I'll just clear that out. I don't need that. There we go. Alright, I've put my toys away except for my claw, and we've gone back to the lower submerged passage. Hopefully I will soon get my level. Looking at the experience bar at the bottom, it shouldn't take too much time to get there. That one's shattered, but what I will do is show you these crabs. They're kind of interesting, really. They lose their armor and then they become a whole new enemy. You may remember the crabs I mentioned in the last video that were just kind of crawling around shooting at me. And they weren't too bad, other than the fact that they were ranged, so could sometimes do quite a bit of damage in the meantime, but they now have shells. See, there they are. Let me show you this ability, by the way. I love that. As you can see, there you go. The shells got knocked off, and now they're a different enemy, technically, because their health bar goes all the way back up. And you have to, you pretty much have to kill them to get the claw, or to get the armor off. So you can see here, I kill him, but then now he's a new enemy. Kind of interesting how they did that. I think that's pretty cool, actually. So you can see what I can do is I can dive through enemies, do a decent amount of damage. Yeah, kill those two right there. And I can move around the battlefield at a fairly quick pace. I'm not going to just spam it to traverse. As you can see, there's kind of a cooldown effect when I land. So it's not the best way to travel. Oh, that's the way I came. Alright. Time to find the exit. And that is what Quicksilver flasks are for. And with that, we have leveled. Going into our passive tree, we are going to get acceleration, 12% increased attack speed, and 20 to my dexterity. A nice boost. This also means that I can use my new claw. This is going to be great. 7 to 18, that's 5 to 12, that's 3 to 11, plus 2 to 4. So that's about 5 to 15, roughly. So this is still better than the dagger. That's 5 to 12 and 1 to 10, so that is about 6 to 22, roughly? Yes. So that would be better for my main hand, I think, for any skills that go off main hand damage. So let me put this in the main hand, and we'll put that in the offhand. We will take this green and put it there. And hallelujah, we now have 2 claws. Pretty cool. Oh, hello. And hello again. This must be my lucky day. So, Glacial Hammer. That is probably the second red gem I've found since I started playing this game in open beta. I don't know why. I just don't find red gems. And also, this is my first Orb of Regret. I mentioned that in the last video. This is kind of your respec system. So here you go. Orb of Regret grants a passive skill refund point. So that's how you're going to rebuild your spec if you ever need to. So not only do you get them from the quests, but you can get them from here. So let's see what I got here. I got Glacial Hammer. It's cold, it's attack, and it's a melee. It's level 1, 11 mana cost, 125% damage effectiveness, quite nice. Plus it's got a 5% quality. It hits the enemy, converting some of your physical damage to cold. If the enemy is frozen and is on less than a third life, they will shatter when hit by Glacial Hammer. Requires a mace or staff, so I cannot use this, unfortunately. That is kind of cool, though. Yeah, I was kind of thinking it might actually work on a shadow I was building that was based on freezing, but of course, maces and staves are not what he's using right now, so unfortunate. Well, it would appear that this area that I found earlier that I thought was going back the way I came was actually the way I need to go, to the upper passage. And it looks like I'm missing a zone as well. Yes, I know I am. And it's going to be over there. So let me find that, because that's a sub-area that I want to go, rather than the upper submerged passage. Oh yes, here we are, the flooded depths. And we are now in a level 6 zone. And this is just a side area, so that's quite nice. Clear this out for some nice experience. Alright, having to clear out quite a few of these crabs with cold damage. In the meantime, we've gotten a level, it looks like, for Whirling Blades. Excellent. So we can kind of take a look at what kind of upgrades it gets as I level it. So let's see here. Alright, there's no mods on it at the moment. Let's go ahead and level it up. We can see it gets 3% increased physical damage. Alright, a level up has been achieved. lots of monsters in this area to give me that experience that I need, and so far I have to admit I am enjoying using claws. I take a little bit of damage as I go along, but the damage comes back very quickly in the form of my life on hit. And that's what the claws come in innately. So 3 here on this one and 3 on that one. So let's go ahead and see what we'll get for a passive. Yes. So we can go to one-handed damage and dual-wield block. Dual-wield block will eventually lead me to blinding speed, which gives me attack speed while dual-wielding. And the one-handed damage will give me repartee, which gives me 18% increased physical damage with one-handed melee. That is quite nice, and maybe the way I want to go. I'm going to be going through both of these, of course. For now, let's go ahead and let's get the block. That'll help me a bit with survival. And then we will go from there to the blinding speed. And then the next 2 levels, we'll go the top route. We'll go ahead and get both of those right away because those are those medium level stones or nodes on the passive tree that will benefit me the most per point. As you can see here, I'm just going to go ahead and let myself take a little bit of damage here from this group. And then, as you can see there, I just went right through them with my Whirling blades, and I just got my health back. That is just very nice. That is fantastic. I really like it. I think this build may work out, especially if I continue to increase the damage that these claws do and make sure that I get health back for the damage as well, not just life on hit. See, much like Diablo, life on hit can be very nice, but it's looking like in this game, if I do enough damage, my lifesteal may prove to be very effective. Alright, we found him, the Dweller of the Deep. Does he have resist fire, extra cold damage, reduced physical damage taken, and enemies are slowed. So I won't be able to do as much to him, but he is not resistant to chaos damage. That's right. And there we go. Oh, right. Second form. Second verse, same as the first. You're dead. Have a nice day. Alright then. Boots. Boots! A sword and a vest. We go get to claim our reward. We also got a level up for one of our gems. Dual Strike is about to get one. Looks like Double Strike did though. So Double Strike I'm not really using, but it looks like it's going to go from 6. I believe that'll go up to 9. I'll go ahead and just double check that here. Double Strike. Yep, it went up to 9. So yeah, it's very predictable curve of power. So we're done here. So let's go ahead and get out of here.
You managed to kill Granddaddy Crab. A pity you couldn't lug it up out of the caves for us. Could have made quite the chowder out of it. No matter. We've got one less reason to fear the dark, and I've got one more thing to thank you for.
And with that quest, I actually got a passive point. So that gets me one step closer to what I want. So let's go ahead and get the one-handed damage. And, yes, I could have completely gotten my blinding speed right there. I saw it highlighted. I assumed I already had it because I've got very short-term memory loss, apparently. Oh well. I could use the Respec points that I got earlier to go ahead and grab one of these, but quite honestly, I don't think it's going to be a big deal. I need both of these nodes anyway, and I'm going to need both of these nodes. So let's just say that it's something to look forward to at the next 2 levels, because then I can get 2 very powerful skills. Yes. Delicious, is it not? I believe it is. Well, let's see what I've found on my travels, shall we? Anything that is useful? Well, yes, there is indeed. A life flask, a larger flask than what I have. I have smalls. This is a medium, and this is an ample medium, which has extra charges and gives me elemental resist during the effect. So that is going to be quite nice. I'll go ahead and put that on there. And we'll have to see how this goes. I don't know if I'm going to need 3 flasks of life, although I think it's very nice to have. Because one thing you can do is drink all of your flasks at kind of one time. And you can get the life regen from each of the flasks in turn. If I were to use flask 1 here, for example, the ample medium flask, and tried to use it twice, I couldn't stack the health gain I would get from that, simply because it's the same potion. It would just kind of restart the health regen. But using 1, then 2, then 3, or just 1 and 2, whatever I need at the time, I can get not only the 100 over 6.5, I could also get the 60 over 6. So I would pretty much be getting 160 over close to 6 seconds, as it were. So I could basically get my regeneration up that way. Looks like I've got a 1 to 4 physical damage ring. That is quite nice. Also gives me evasion rating and increased mana regeneration rate. Not that I've been running out of mana. I've been doing pretty good there. I'm kind of surprised. I've been leveling my skills every chance I get. So the mana cost is going to start going up. So let's go ahead and we'll take that. I've got a maximum life and maximum mana. My life hasn't been a big issue. And something that kind of might sound crazy here, but things like life on hit and life leech usually become more important the less life you have. And that is simply to say that if I have a lower health pool, each of these life on hit would be a larger percentage of that health pool, therefore it's more useful to smaller health pools. That's not to say it's not useful to large health pools, that's just saying that you can see the efficiency of it with the lower health. So basically the lower life that I can get away with and survive will be the most efficient, but I don't want, again, to shortchange myself when it comes to that. So anything else? Well, we have here, what am I wearing? I'm wearing evasion rating armor, and that's 24. That's not bad, honestly. I need to get rid of these boots, and it looks like I may have the means to do so. Let's see what I've got here. Armor evasion, and that's simply evasion. That's got fire resist. What does this have? Energy shield, which is only at 4, so 10% is nothing. Items, quantity of items found is nice, but what is this? Fire resistance and movement speed. I like that. Movement speed indeed. Alright, that's green and blue, much like this one is. What is that? Blue and red. No, thank you. Green and blue, put those on. Hallelujah. I got some boots. Doesn't look like anything else is going to be terribly useful to me at the moment, especially since I'm using claws and don't want to use the sword. Maximum mana, maximum life. Nope, well, we're done here. I will sell these items. And that is this a good place? I think we're at the submerged passage and need to move on. Yes, I think that's good. We'll go ahead and we will stop here for now. And we will move on into the next area on the next one. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Shadow moving along fairly quickly. Working out, I like it. Again, I'll post the build at the bottom. And as you can see here, if you'd like to take a look at where we are presently, there we are. We have moved forward along the path of one-handed damage. And we have our block and one-handed damage here. And we'll be moving on to physical damage with one hand and blinding speed, which is attack speed. We'll then be moving on possibly here to one-handed damage and dual wield block again, so that we can move over here to movement speed, and that will allow us to go up in this direction with the crit. And eventually I'm going to want to come here to Mind Drinker, I believe. That's something I'm going to probably reserve judgment on at this time, simply because mana hasn't exactly been an issue just yet. But I don't know if it will be. I may need it, I may not. But eventually I'm going to go up this way anyway, because I have claw damage here, as well as some critical strikes, and a very easy to obtain mid-level stone here. So that is probably where I want to go. I don't think I'm going to get the rest of these. I'm going to save my points, but this, since that's very easy to get, since I'm going to be here already, that is where I'm going to want to go. So I think my initial thoughts here are I want to go over here in order to get the damage back as life, and that is a total of 4%. 1 here, 2 here. So I will probably move down this way. Once I get these two, I'll move down here to damage while dual wielding, so that's 8 and 6. And move here across the dexterity nodes. It'll be tempting to go down here into these claw nodes here. I do want to get all of these. And I might go ahead and get this up to here to Claws of the Pride because it is a higher level node. But then my thoughts are basically to go along here to get some frenzy charges. And my plan is eventually to go down here to get this frenzy charge as well. So I will have 2 extra frenzy charges. And then later there is a quest that can give me yet another. I'm interested to hear thoughts on that. That's a total of 3 additional frenzy charges. And I've basically got my build planned out. You can see it when I post in the notes that I've got all but 1 point accounted for, essentially. And that 1 point is going to be the one that I don't get for getting additional frenzy charges. So interested to see what people think about that, since I haven't quite gotten that far into any kind of build before, if that would be very useful. I know that frenzy charges can help with my damage and can be consumed with Flicker Strike. Which I'm looking forward to seeing if I'll need that or if I will be using other skills. Alright, thank you ladies and gentlemen for watching. That has been Theory Crafting hour? Maybe not hour, but that's Theory Crafting with Kage and his shadow. I'll see you next time.